Hey, and welcome back. This is probably my final video on this particular topic. As you can see, it looks done. There really is only one thing left to do on this table, and that is there's a piece of blocking terrain that goes right on the top here. On the map, on the printed map, it's like a circle of stones, which would be cool, but really the scale-wise, that wouldn't really work. To make it look like a circle of stones, it would have to be pretty short, and it wouldn't look like blocking terrain. And to make it tall and blocking, it would look a little absurd. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is creating just one large stone, maybe look like I want to say a plinth or well, I don't know. Anyway, but a single standing stone right in the center, probably carved out of the same foam as the board itself, and then mounted on a square base so that it can be removed and replaced, as the rest of these things can be removed. Let's not start with that one because that one has issues. This one. So as you can see, the removable tree thing worked for the most part. This was actually this one right here is going to require just a little bit of teasing out of there at some point. That was my very first hole that I drilled, and it came out too big. And so, because my original plan was drill a hole, drop in some glue, drop in the tube, and let the glue set. And the hole was too big, and for some reason I totally forgot that you don't use super glue on this foam, and you don't use super glue on this tube that I used either. It's the same stuff they actually make the tubes of super glue out of because it doesn't stick to it. So yeah, two bad things there. So that meant I actually went in and kind of jammed the whole thing with putty and created a hole for the tube to sit in, and then I guess the putty wasn't completely set when I put the tree in, so now it's holding tight, and I need to go in there and work it out. But the rest of them work just fine, and the tube idea works great. The trees sit in very nicely, and they're easy to remove, except for that one. I also added some tree clutter under the various trees. I think the easiest one to see is this one. This is just static grass that you can find at your hobby store. I found it at my hobby store, like right behind me. And I did that is just a, kind of an extra added detail. If you've ever gone into a pine forest in the winter, more than likely you've got a clear area under the trees where the pine needles have fallen and the snow doesn't necessarily get to it. So I just wanted to add that extra little bit of detail. It wasn't necessary, but I think it looks good, and I've gotten some good compliments on it. So there. The trees themselves, I showed you last time. They were green, and I actually just took some white spray primer and sprayed it in this direction. So on the bottom, the trees are dark, and on the top, the trees are light, to sort of get that feeling of a dusting of snow. And yeah, so in addition, of course, I did all of the colored lines for the hindering terrain. And as I mentioned before, I was going to use a pinstriper. This is what a pinstriper looks like. You've got your bottle, you've got your reservoir, and then you've got a little wheel down here on the bottom. And the paint just sort of goes down onto the wheel, and you use that to paint your line. And there's even this guide here that you can use if you want to help sort of set up if you want to set up a guide to help you keep from going all over the place, which I did periodically on this, but it's not a big deal. I went in and touched up the paint and it worked just fine. So yeah, I mean, it's essentially done, and I'm very happy with it. It really shouldn't have been as much work as it was. I guess overall, really, it wasn't a lot of work. It was a lot of thinking about how to approach various things, and that's always my downfall, is I spend more time thinking about things than I do doing them, and it makes projects take too long. This works with painting as well. I mean, when I'm doing a painting project, if I don't have a clear vision right from the very beginning of where I'm going, it takes twice as long. So yeah, in this case, that was what happened. But it came out pretty good. Was I completely happy with it? No. I mean, there were some things that went wrong, aside from this tree, that I wasn't really happy with the results. For example, when I did the gluing of all the sheets together, it was not necessary to create a even coating of glue across the entire surface of the boards as I was doing them. All I was doing was setting myself up for a situation like this. These lines here are from the glue. Now, if I had just done spot glue, just enough to tack the thing together, I wouldn't have this. And so, I'm still fairly new to working with this, and I think I mentioned that at the very beginning of this project, is that I don't claim to be an expert at this by any stretch. I'm sharing my process with you as I do it, so I'm learning things as I go as well. So yeah, glue, even layer of glue across the surface, not necessary whatsoever. I experimented, I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not, but I picked up some pearlizing paint at the craft store, and according to the instructions, you're supposed to mix it with your paint, and then it provides a pearl essence to the paint. Since I got it after I did the last coat of paint, I thought, well, I'll just use it as a highlight, like a dry brush. And the problem with it is that I think it's mica based, so it actually kind of has a color to it if you have enough on there. It's a kind of a gold tone. And in certain lighting conditions, it looks good. And in certain lighting conditions, it's dark and you can actually see it. And so I wasn't really happy with how that worked out, and I went through and tried to kind of touch it up in the areas where I thought it looked the worst. So it's another example of you make mistakes and you learn things. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm hoping that today the HeroClix players will take an opportunity to give it a try, and maybe I'll do some video of that as well. And if you had any questions, anything that I didn't cover while I was doing these videos, please ask me in the comments. I read every comment, and I respond to most of the comments. If I feel like there's something that needs to be responded to, I will follow up pretty quickly. So yeah, any questions, please ask, and I will answer. So that's it for now, and with luck, I'll also be adding some other video of people actually playing on this, and I'm going to see if I can fix this tree. So that's it for now, and thanks for watching. Talk to you later.